welcome back to my channel. My name is Alyssa and today I'm going to be talking about my experience doing my first ever art market. So in today's video, I'm going to be talking about how I got into this event, what my experience was like, any successes, failures, things that I learned, advice I might have, and hopefully this is entertaining if you are somebody looking to sell their artwork in the future, or if you just want to hear about my experience as a newbie. So my very first art market was about 2 weeks ago, I think now. It was very fun. So let me just put that out there. I had a lot of fun. I would consider it a success, but let's talk, how did I even get started? So the first thing I had to do was apply and rent a table spot. So I was required to bring my own table, but you still have to reserve a spot for the craft fair. And that's pretty typical, it looks like, for most vendor markets. So I reserved a spot. It was $50 a head to reserve a spot for a 6-foot table. The tents were not required, but it was an outdoor event. And in the email prior to the event happening, they did say that tents were highly encouraged. So I didn't have one and ended up borrowing one from someone last minute. And I'm so glad I did. So if you are somebody looking to start vending and you want to do outdoor events, definitely have a tent, because it can get windy and your products can get ruined. So I'm very happy that I brought a tent. Now, a little description of what this event was. So I applied for a kind of citywide festival. It showcased a lot of local businesses and things in that realm. So it wasn't necessarily arts focused, but you could sell your art as well. It was kind of open for whatever. I don't think that this event was well advertised. And I don't think that it's something that I would apply to again, just because I feel as though the target audience for my work was not aligned with the target audience of this event. I applied to this event just to get a sense of what a market might be like. One piece of advice that I would give about applying to markets is definitely apply in advance. When I say apply in advance, I mean apply in advance. So I thought that, if I want to do summer markets, I'll just apply a couple months prior, No. There was no events near me. I was late to the party, and now I have to kind of commute for a lot of the events that I'm doing this summer. So if you are interested in selling your stuff in the summer, definitely apply in maybe February, that early. Because right now, when I go online, there are applications now for Halloween events, Christmas events, and these applications started back in June. So clearly you have to be on top of your game to get the best events. So I had slim pickings. We're just kind of trying this out as an experiment this summer. So anyways, I arrived to the event. I brought my mom with me. I would highly suggest bringing someone with you, at least for your first event, because a lot went wrong in the beginning and I would have died of anxiety, packed up my stuff, and left if it wasn't for my mom being with me. So shout out, Mom, thank you. I almost lost it, but I didn't, and everything was fine. Mom kind of saved the day. I'll get to that in a moment. So we arrived at the event early, obviously, when check-in was, and the woman who checked us in was very rude. She was rude, I'm sorry. She greeted me very strangely and then was very kind to everyone else, which felt a little odd, but my mom and I weren't going to take it personally. We were like, all right, let's set up here. We don't really know what we're doing. So I had asked the woman, when I'm all done unpacking my stuff, where would I park my car? Because our car was next to my table in the middle of the event. So I figured I'd probably have to move it. And the woman told me, no, you just leave your car there. So I started setting up my table, and then this very lovely woman came over and was like,
"Are you done yet?"
And I was like, what do you mean? And she's like,
"You need to move your car."
And I was like, okay, I will move my car. You didn't really make that clear. So I was like, okay, where do I park? You know, trying to figure out where to park my car. And she gave me no directions. She was just like,
"Go up here, turn left, turn right, and then turn left."
So I was like, trying to keep my cool still, trying to be happy, keep that upbeat energy. I was like, okay, could you repeat that? And she was like,
"I'll just show you."
So I get in my car, turn on my car, I'm about to go, and the woman disappears. So now I'm driving around aimlessly trying to figure out where this woman is telling me where to park. I'm trying not to freak out. Eventually, I find a random parking spot nearby. It's like on a hill. So walking back up it at the end was not fun. But I didn't know where else to park. I asked a cop, I was like, is this legal to park here? And he was like, yeah. So I just decided to go in that spot. But very disorganized. Already off to a rough start here. So I set up my stuff. Everything is going great. It looks really cute. I'm so excited. And things start like slowing down. I'm drinking my coffee and we're like, okay, we got this. We put up the tent. It wasn't actually too difficult to put up the tent, so that was a good surprise. I'm hoping the new tent I bought is also not that difficult to put up, so we'll see how that goes. And I used some storage cubes, and I used some other things that I made to spice up the table, set everything up, and it was time to go. It was time to start. So I set up everything, made it look real cute, and before I knew it, it was time to start. So people started coming in, and I was setting up my card reader. So if you don't know, I have a Shopify for my website. So I built it through Shopify, and what Shopify does is they send you a free card reader to use if you're selling in person. So I set it all up ahead of time, and it was working fine. But, of course, when I set up the POS system on my phone, it won't log in. I had full service. Everything was fine. It just wouldn't log in on my phone. Now, is that because I have an Android? Maybe it is. I don't know. So luckily, my mom had her iPhone with us, and it connected, but she had 16% battery, and the event had just started. Why did my mom only have 16% battery on her phone? I don't know. But she did. And I was like, you know what? It's fine. I prepared for this. I have my little portable charger. I knew we were going to need this. It's all good. Just plug it in. So we take out the portable charger, and I forgot the cord. So now I'm like, great. This is great. This is so great. Great. Love it. And my mom's like, calm down. Like, we're going to figure this out. So she goes over to another vendor's booth and was like, yo, do you have a phone charger? And they were like, no, but there's a CVS right down the street right there. You can go there and pick one up. So I was like, oh, bet. Awesome. Okay. So my mom went down to the CVS, picked me up a phone charger like the champion that she is, and crisis averted. We used her phone the whole day. So next time when I go to a market without my lovely mother, we will be bringing a backup device. And remember to bring the cord that goes along with the charger so that I can charge my phone when at the event. I would recommend portable charger, backup device, tent, good attitude. So things start going good. Obviously it was kind of slow at the very beginning because, like I said, this market wasn't really for my brand. However, I did make some sales, which was awesome. I was so excited, and I was really proud of my table display. I have to say my table display was like a lot better than a lot of people's there. It was actually so lame at this event that I didn't even want to walk around and shop for myself at all. And usually you can't get me out of a craft fair. I love shopping at craft fairs, but it was hella boring there. So anyways, a couple hours go by. My lovely, lovely friends came by and cheered me on for my first art market. And shout out to them because this event was so lame that they did not stay very long. But they made the hike for me to come by and buy some things and support me, and I love them all so much. So the day goes by, the sales pick up, I start like getting a good feel of how to introduce myself to my customers. I kind of come up with like a little spiel to explain what I got in front of me and what I'm selling. It's good to have an intro, I noticed, because otherwise if you're just like, hey, how are you? And people are looking at your products, it just like gets awkward. Like you should have something to say about your work to your customers. I think that helps them understand what they're looking at and potentially buy things. A bit through the event, the wind picked up, and this is when we had another lovely crisis. My storage cubes toppled over. I also had a stand that was holding a sweatshirt, and that kept falling over, and we had to try to duct tape it to the table. Needless to say, I bought a new clothing rack because that was the worst thing ever. And for storage cubes, in order to keep them down next time, I'm gonna try to use like some weights or something just to not have them flip over and ruin my product. And another thing was my sign. So I had my sign held up with duct tape. Looking back on it, it was a little bit like Mickey Mouse together. That maybe wasn't the route to go on a windy outdoor day. And so I had to keep like making sure my sign was sticking. Also, my table runner kept like flipping from the wind. So I looked online, and a good hack for that is buying safety pins and pinning your table runner to the table. So that's the plan for the next art market that I have on Sunday this week. So I'll give you guys a little update on that as well if you're interested. Just let me know in the comments below. I love sharing my struggles with everyone. So yeah, at the end, we had to clean up, obviously, and we were not allowed to bring our cars to our booths to like pick up the stuff. And it really wasn't explained well whatsoever, like what the heck the expectation was for cleanup. So we packed up everything. I also was super duper thankful. I bought this wagon on Amazon. I can link it down below. And it holds up to 300 pounds, and it's just like a lifesaver. The wheels pop off, so you can just like put it in your car after you're done, and then when you want to take it out, you just put the wheels back on and you're good to go. So most of my stuff fit in that, which was great. But the 6-foot table didn't have wheels, obviously. It's a table. And I had to trek that thing up the mountain that I parked on. I was a little bit irritated. Yeah, my mom and I struggled to bring that stuff up the hill. Once we got everything in the car, we were good to go, and we went back home and everything was great. So, kind of synopsis. How did it go? What were the sales? Did I make any money? Luckily, I did make profit. So I did cover the table fee, which was $50. And I made around $200 total from this event. Is that a lot? Probably not a lot to somebody who does this full time. But for me, I said from the start, my goal is to sell one product. And I did that. So I was really excited. I was proud of myself. I felt great. And I'm looking forward to the next couple of markets that I'm going to do because they're more centered around what, like, they're more on brand for me. So, final thoughts. Was it worth it? Yes, I had a lot of fun. I know there was like some struggles. I know the woman who ran the event was a little unfriendly. And I know that I had some issues, but I feel like for my very first event, I rolled with the punches pretty well. And I like that it was such a low-key event so that I could have the time to deal with all these issues and not have like a stream of customers waiting for me while I'm like,
my Shopify's broken.
So yeah, that is all for this week's video. I am going to leave a list of products in the description of my favorite things that I have bought so far for my business. Some things have kind of sucked, so I'm not going to put those things. But I'll put the things that I feel like have been super helpful in the description. And if you are looking for products, you can check them out. That is all for this week's video. Thank you so much for watching. I am hoping to come out with another Create This Book 3 episode soon and a thrift store makeover. So if you're interested in checking that out, make sure you hit the subscribe button so you will be notified when I post those. So that's all I got for you today. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.
Thank you.